Hello everyone, it's Thomas Wooden Railway and I'm here with the very first video and a brand new series on my channel that has to do with all of the custom Thomas Wooden Railway items that I have in my collection. Over the past couple of months, I have asked various different Thomas Wooden Railway YouTubers if they would help me out in this custom making process. And really my goal for this series is just to show off all of these custom engines and give credit where credit is due, because I have a lot of fantastic customs that I would like to show the world. So this is the first video in a brand new series where I'm basically going to do just that. So I thought it was fitting that for the first episode of a new series, I would start with the number one engine, except this time he's not number one, he's actually number 70. This is the LBSC Thomas that was seen in a few minutes of the 2015 Thomas and Friends movie, The Adventure Begins. And I'll give a little bit of a backstory here. I am no railway series or Thomas historian by any means. I'm just reading straight off of the Thomas and Friends wiki. But before Thomas came to Sodor, he worked at a place called Brighton, which I believe is located on the mainland. And the LBSC that you see written on the side there stands for London, Brighton, South Coast, and it's part of the British Railway. So that's where Thomas worked before he came to Sodor. And everybody knows this Thomas from the 2015 movie, The Adventure Begins, where early on in the movie, Thomas comes to Sodor and you basically see how he adapts and how he becomes the really useful engine that we all know and love today. So the very talented YouTube user that was behind this custom was, his name is HiroTheJapaneseTrain. And I've provided a link to his channel in both the video description and the comments below. And I would really appreciate it if you guys would go check out his channel, and without a doubt, all credit goes to him on this custom here. I had very little to do with it. In fact, a lot of the customs that I'm going to show off in this series, I'm not going to have a whole ton to do with them because I am just not artistically talented when it comes to painting and in some cases modifying engines to get them what they need to look like. So I've basically asked other YouTubers, Thomas YouTubers that is, to help me in this process, and in return I would basically show off their beautiful customs and give them a nice plug and ask that you would all go visit their channels. So this YouTube user, his name is HiroTheJapaneseTrain. A lot of you know him as Matt. And he is a very talented custom maker. If you go to his channel, you'll see that he has done a number of different customs. And I just thought I would show off this particular one as the first video because I thought it would make sense to show off Thomas as, you know, in the first episode of a brand new series. So the only real part that I had to do with this custom is, let me move LBSC Thomas over just one line. The only thing I had to do with this custom is that I sent HiroTheJapaneseTrain a Thomas just like this one in the mail, and then he painted it up all nice and fancy and sent it back to me. So that's really all I can claim when it comes to this custom. HiroTheJapaneseTrain did 99.9% of the work basically. I just sent him the supplies that he needed. So I sent him a Thomas in the mail that looked just like this, and I asked him, and I said, you know what, don't go too fancy, don't go too intricate with the details, just try to think of something that Learning Curve or Mattel would have made. And just try not to go, you know, don't worry about the small details like the whistle or, you know, the windows in his cab or anything like that. Just, you know, use the lines and the detailing on a normal Thomas here as your inspiration and just kind of see what you can create. And obviously, HiroTheJapaneseTrain did not disappoint. Hopefully, you can kind of see you know, where there are obviously some very similar areas, especially, you know, the lines around this area of Thomas here, and just, you know, really the only thing that's been done is just that colors have been changed for the most part. If HiroTheJapaneseTrain happens to comment on this video, I'm sure he would be more than willing to kind of detail the process he went through. But I presume he just painted Thomas in this green color back here and then came in with, it looks like, white and yellow and that's where he kind of got the touch up on the details there. So let me bring LBSC Thomas back to the center here, because he is the star of this video. So let me spin him around just so you can see the other side. One thing I did notice when I featured this model in my latest collection video, I noticed that the wheels were starting to fade just a little bit. It looks like the paint in that area is starting to come off. Obviously that was unintentional. It's hard to tell, maybe you can, but Hiro the Japanese Train, he didn't put like a coat or anything on this model, he just left it as it is, so it's a very bare matte finish, so to speak. And so I think the only problem with that is that it looks as though the wheels are starting to, the paint on the wheels is starting to come off, which obviously was unintentional. I wouldn't be surprised though, as maybe in a few years or so, or whenever I decide to use this Thomas in a video, I might have to come along and just touch up the wheels, because you can see, you can sort of see there's some blue paint poking through where the green paint has started to wear off. So let me flip Thomas on his side here and show you just the bottom, because this was a really cool part in my opinion. As you can see, this was just a normal Thomas at one point, but then Hiro the Japanese Train came along and added his initials, and then he also added LBSC Thomas. And then these codes on the bottom here were from the original Thomas. It has to do with recall information in case there was any lead paint on this Thomas, but I guess it doesn't really matter at this point since he's been repainted. But that's just an indication that yes, this Thomas was a licensed product. And you can actually see some blue paint right here, which is or was the original color of this Thomas. And of course there was no need to paint above the wheels there, because when Thomas is standing upright like this, you don't see any of that. So I just thought I would turn that over, because Hiro the Japanese Train, he kind of left his mark in a way on this Thomas, and that's totally fine with me because he did all the work. So once again, I'll give one final plug for Hiro the Japanese Train. Personally, I thought he just did a magnificent job on this Thomas. He did a bunch of different customs for me that will all be a part of this future custom spotlight showcase series, whatever I end up calling it. But I thought I would just start with this Thomas that he supplied me, because I don't know, it just seems like a really cool model. And I don't know, like all of the customs he did for me, they were fantastic. They were excellent in every way, but there was just something about this Thomas here that stood out to me. So I thought I would just start with the first video in a series. I'd start with the #1 engine. And let me just do a quick close-up on the side here. As you can see, a lot of the details were hand painted. I really like that. I think it kind of adds a, I don't know, like a homemade, I don't know what you would call it, just kind of a homemade feature to this item. And as you can see, he is number 70. Let me flip it back to the other side here. So yeah, really excellent job by Hiro the Japanese Train. Please go to his channel, let him know what you think about this custom. Personally, I just think he did an incredible job, and I couldn't be happier. So yeah, I guess I'll wrap this video up. It's a lot longer than I thought it would be, but this is a custom LBSC Thomas that was featured in a few minutes of The Adventure Begins, which if you're a Thomas fan, you've probably already seen, and it really is an excellent movie. And so I know a lot of other people have done customs on this engine before, but I thought I would just show off the excellent custom that Hiro the Japanese Train made for me. As far as appearing in future videos, I don't have any plans right now, but who knows? Especially if I end up doing an Adventure Begins remake in the future, I'll definitely be using this Thomas. So everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to the first video of this brand new series. Let me know what you think about this custom model. I would really appreciate your thoughts. Leave your comments below, and other than that, I guess I'll see you on the next custom video. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you soon.